which will give some idea what this talk will be about. So I split this talk in two parts. First will be a little bit history of Package Manager, mostly, because I am developer of Package Manager. That's why this talk will be focused mostly on the GUI side, with all the things which are behind the development. This is Open Solaris Developer Conference, so I'd like to introduce you about how we are developing the application. So first of all, very high-level architecture overview of IPS GUI, then a little bit of history, changes that happened, why they happened to the GUIs. Then I will talk a little bit about cool P5i files. Brian was giving a talk about source juicer, so what are those files, how we can use those, why we introduced this, and what we can get from those files. And later, we will have 3 points where I will give a little bit of demo. And this demo is about using dtrace to tweak your Python apps. IPS and IPS GUI are written in Python. That's why we are using dtrace to make them working performant better. So there will be a small demo how to make it happen. We are also using automated tests to check if everything is working correctly. So for the IPS base part, there is a framework to which the GUI is attached, and we can test everything automatically. So I will also show how it is done. So you can also make use of such things when you are developing any Python application. And for the GUI side, I will tell a little bit about LDTP framework. So this is also something which you can make use for your applications. And the last two parts are about managing boot environments. So as a developers, how we can manage our boot environments using GUI and one CLI tool, and what we are planning in the future. Okay. So very high-level architecture overview on the GUI and IPS. So the first version of IPS didn't give us any API, but this is the current overview. So we have API to which we communicate from the GUI side, and also other GUIs such as installer or other are using this API to consume the IPS. And we have 3 main parts, which is Update Manager. This is this little icon which is blinking when there are any updates. Web Installer, this is for consuming P5i files. And Package Manager. You can see that there are classes and objects that are reused from any of those components. So if you want to write another application that will be just installing something, then you can make use of this object. So you can write any GUI that will call this object, and then everything will happen automatically. We have also one publisher object, which is to deal with publishers, repositories, adding, removing, whatever you like, and for managing BEs. Okay, a little bit of history. So first, it started with 2005. This was the first GUI, very simple one. Later, we had 3 major releases. So this was the first one, second one, third one. And now the current development is targeted, it's Open Solaris 2010. We will see if this will be in February, March, or maybe later. So I made this screenshot to show you how this evolved and why it evolved. Basically, GUIs are targeted for the users, not for us. Many developers are writing the GUIs because they think they know how it's supposed to be. This is wrong. The GUI should be designed by the people who know about the user needs. So that is why we had also the usability tests, but I will take a time later about telling this. So we can see that it was very simple tool. It was written in a couple of months. So we didn't have too much choice about control. Also, we were not using APIs, so the things at the beginning were a little broken. So people were complaining about the performance, about the breakage, because we couldn't establish API in such short time. So this is how it looked like. So we can see that a lot of noise was there, I would say. Okay, later, in 2008-11, the boot environment management came, and as well we could manage our repositories. This was very simple management, but boot environment management, I heard that a lot of sysadmins were using simply to remove thousands of, maybe not thousands, but few boot environments without typing all these things to the command line tool. Okay, so this is how it looked in 2008-11. So we can see that some columns were cleaned up. People didn't know how to, didn't know what is the version of the package. They are not, users don't care about the version. They simply want to know about the updates if they are available. Even if they say that they want to know about the version, it doesn't mean that they want to. So that's why in next version we made some progress about this. A new thing came, so if you want to disable this update manager from your system, here is a little instruction how to do that. So basically we have a very simple SMF service. We don't have action scripts like post pre-installation scripts in the IPS, so that's why the workaround is to make the service, which is running for the first time when the package is installed. So basically, this service is just adding the cron job, which is firing this script. And this script is checking if the check for the update is necessary. And if it is necessary, then it checks for updates, generates the cache file, which is consumed by those two guys. This is done because the call to check for the updates is pretty heavy. So it simply speeds up the thing, and for the user doesn't have to wait a couple of minutes to check if there are updates. Okay, so the last release of OpenSolaris menu, we can see that some things were moved from the view side. Users simply didn't know that the repositories can be managed from the view, so that's why they are under file now. We have now a very nice start page, and why it is nice? Because it's connected to the community. So basically we can talk with the community through the package manager. Here we are talking with source user people like Brian or Dermont to integrate the, that's why I asked about the statistics. So basically we are planning to put the statistics here with the links to P5i files, and like this we can promote some packages because some people don't know what they are looking for. Okay, so that's why this is a communication with those developers and users. Also here was a lot of cleanup. We don't need some icon here, simple cleanup was done here. So you see that this GUI was evolving a lot, and underlying fields also changed a lot during this time. So, and the new cool feature which came to OpenSolaris 2009-06, which is P5i file. What is this P5i file? It is a simple JSON format file, which is the recipe for the packages. I have here a simple file. So I will show you how it looks. If I will move this to this side. Oh, like this. Oh no. Escape. Okay. Okay. So maybe make the fonts a little bit smaller. What do you think? It's 18. It's enough. Okay, so this is JSON format, and currently there is no such tool to generate those files automatically. Only the repository, the publishers have the small icons up there to be consumed. Later on, the CLI will also support those P5i files, so you can set that pfexec pkg install and point to the P5i file. and then everything will happen automatically. So we can see that here is the name of the publisher, which we want to add, 2 packages that we want to install from this publisher, and repositories that belongs to this publisher. So here we have pkg OpenStorage.org. Here are also some few informative fields like description, URIs, mirrors of these packages, refresh seconds, so we don't refresh the publisher every time we are doing pkg refresh operation. And here is another publisher, my publisher, with some multimedia packages. Okay, so what happens if we will now start this package, start this P5i file? Okay, so we can see that we will add only one publisher because the second one was already on the system. And we will install those 4 packages because I don't have those packages. So like this, I can create my set of packages, send to my friend and or whoever, deploy some packages like this, and just send the recipe, and the rest will be done automatically. So all the dependencies, all the publishers will be added. So this is a very nice feature. And this feature is supported in a few web servers. And if we don't have support, we need to add another MIME type. So basically, if we are blogging about the package or about this set of packages, we need to add the MIME type. Now I will try to come back to the presentation. Okay, so this is the MIME type which needs to be added to the web browser to support those P5i files. Okay, and the current development. There were 2 usability studies done about the package manager, update manager, and in general IPS and focus groups that actually showed that few things that we were doing were not. A lot of work after those studies was put to improve the user experience of those tools. So that is why now I highlighted the search. Search is now not more filter. Before we could only filter for the packages. Now the search is remote search, which search for everything, like files, names, description, and so on. Because basically, like in any web browser search, we don't know what we are looking for. Of course, we can focus this to the description, but at the beginning, 1, 2 keywords should be enough to find a package. Also, we changed the categories, so now we can see that we don't have like two fields for the categories. We have this tree view, so we can actually go further and further to find the packages by browsing, but we just need 2 levels of this. Also, we have search for all repositories capability, so we can search for every package which is up there. Okay, and publisher. This was also quite a bit modification. So the underlying IPS is changing the way that the publishers are managed. Basically, the publisher now is the high-level entity to which we are publishing our packages. And under this publisher can be many repositories. So this can be development repository or stable repository, but it's from one publisher. And that is why this had to be reworked. Basically, for the user, I hope that you will never ever have to go to those dialogues. And when I will be talking about the future development, I will say why, because we have very nice future coming as well. Okay, now using dtrace to tweak IPS package manager. So I hope this will be a little bit more interesting for you. Basically, here there are the times of the startup of our package manager. Why it was so slow? Because we were calling some calls for the underlying IPS, and we were waiting, and we were waiting and waiting, and back in 2008-05, this was at the acceptable level, around 10-11 seconds, but then the packages were growing. So in 2008-11, I don't know if anyone had experienced the problem with startup of package manager. it was down to 40 seconds. So this was something unacceptable. So we had to do something. And with the help of dtrace, we came down and also slight modifications to 4 seconds. This is like a startup with cache. Without cache, it was still 36 seconds. So for the first time you are starting the UI, it was pretty slow, but then it improved a lot. And the current development version, in which you can test by building the IPS gate or updating your system to the development version, we can see that also the improvement was pretty high. So basically with the cache we couldn't improve anything because the cache was the pure data. But with the access to the list and other tweaks allows us to come back from 35 seconds, 36 down to 11. So now I will give a little bit demo about dtrace and how to dtrace this Python application. Trace. Okay. Okay, so this is a script which is based on the JavaScript Brendan Greggs, and it is simply changed to allow us to trace Python calls. I will show how this works on the GUI side, but this can be used on the CLI side as well. Basically, I don't know how many people here have no idea what is dtrace and we're not even not using this. Okay, so this is the good audience. Basically, if we are using dtrace, we need to know what we are searching for. So that is why there are two scripts. This is entry return scripts. Simply, it's tracing everything from the entry to any function to the return to any function. So we have here like two entry functions. Here aggregation, return function, and here we are simply printing the stuff. And basically we are counting the numbers of the calls, the average time for each call, and the total number spent in that call. So how it works? We can simply use this script to any Python application by calling this little guy. So basically we are calling dtrace, then calling the script, and then the module which we want to trace. Because this is entry return, we will trace everything from the entry to that function to the return from this function. Why? Because here we have the source code, and if someone is familiar with the code, we know that this little function is the ending point of adding publisher. So if we now run this here, we can see that this function is those functions are being traced, and I didn't have to modify any line of the code. And we will now start package manager pointing to the local repository, and we will try to add another repository. So as you can see, also those dialogues changed. Okay, and let's try to move here. We are tracing something. And simply we want to add the publisher. Okay, we added, and we can see how many calls were triggered and how many time we did spend in each call. So here is 520 milliseconds because I am using the local publisher, so I didn't have almost any network traffic. And we can see that from those 5,020 milliseconds, 490 were spent in the API. So from the GUI side, 30 milliseconds is nothing. So if someone is blaming GUI, that is working slowly, please fill a bug under API for this call. And here is another script which I want to show you. Installation of the package. Okay, let's start this. Oh, I think it should be a little bit smaller. Okay, and where is my package manager? Here. Okay. Let's install this package. And we can see that the package was installed, and also we have the data which gives us exactly the information about every call. Of course, those scripts are available, for example, through the blog or through the IPS gate. There is one limitation. So basically, the UI is the threaded application. So if we are going to any thread, the dtrace will not trace this. So, but as a developer, I don't need this, because I know that if I am going to the thread, I can count the functions which are inside this thread as well. So simply firing another dtrace script will be enough. Okay. Now how to come back to this? Okay. Okay. So this was a very simple example how to detrace the things, and we of course know that if we spend a lot of time in this function, we are looking at the bottom of this whole stack, then we should tune something up there. Okay, another thing is automated test. This is I would say another talk, but I will give some very short overview how we are doing that, how IPS is doing that. Basically, this is the Python unit test, and every test may contain a set of publishers which are automatically started, and also everyone can specify a set of packages in this publisher. I will show how this simple test look like. Okay, so basically, this is CLI test, and we can see here that it's simply extending single depot test case. So this is the class which allow us to start and stop the publisher automatically very easily. So how to start the publisher? This function is enough. So this is very well written test suite. And test framework that allows to test any IPS-based applications. So basically, we are extending some single depot test case. We have here some very simple package, and we are setting that this depot is not persistent, because we want this process to be gone after the test is finished. So we are setting up the depot server by this line. If the test is finished, we are cleaning everything down, removing the files, and then we are starting some test case. So basically, getting the URL from that depot, sending one package which was specified there, and creating the image for that depot. So those few lines gives you like a lot of power to test the whole IPS-based application. So if I will start now some simple test, how it looks in action. And here, I believe, yeah. Okay. So basically, it will automatically start package manager. I'm not touching anything. So this test case is simply starting, showing the manage boot environments dialog. And I did put the 5 seconds wait for the GUIs there to talk a little about this. And at the end, it will simply close package manager and generate a result. It didn't close, as I can close like this. Okay, there was some failure in that.
So,
yes?
just a quick comment, so I understand that it's not doing Kubernetes fault if stuff seems slow. It is what's happening in the background, right?
It depends what, okay? Because when we are loading, for example, 100,000 packages to the GTK list, basically GTK list is not performant enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we cannot show all the packages from all the world.
Yeah, is there a way to give the user better feedback about what's going on? So the user knows, oh, there's a lot going on in the background. Let me just wiggle this thing for you so you know this is happening.
For which operation?
For everything that users complain about being slow, which they aren't, it's just...
I'm not sure which version of Package Manager are you using, but in the new version, like the current development, we did put a lot of efforts just to improve user experience, yeah, and the whole feedback is much better.
Okay, yeah. It's okay if it's slow and if somebody else is responsible
but
to show the user why this is happening.
I agree with this completely.
Cool.
So basically, and what we have seen here, we were using LDTP framework, and this is framework which is using accessibility events. So basically, the package manager, when it is starting, is firing accessibility event, and the LDTP is taking care of that. And once it is done, then it's going to another accessibility event. So if I will now come here. Oh. Okay. So this is as simple as 8, maybe, 19 lines of the code. So we can see that we are importing from LDTP all the functions, and we are starting package manager. Then we are selecting through the accessibility event the manage boot environment menu, and we are waiting for the GUI to be there. Here I did put wait 5 seconds so you can see actually that something is happening. And we are canceling the dialog and quitting the package manager. And like this you can test any of your GUI applications. So this is something nice. Okay. Okay, boot environments. So what is boot environment? Probably all of you already know. So the boot environment is let's say snapshot of the root pool together with group entry, and using admin command or updating your system, you can create yet another BE with completely new set of software, newer software. Also, if the IPS fails, you are sure that you can always run the Open Solaris without any problem, because before any operation, the the snapshot of your root system is made, and if something goes wrong, then the snapshot from the snapshot, the new BE is created. So you have always working Open Solaris. And here is some example how you can create few boot environments. So for example, we were cloning using pfexec admin command the BE. So this will create the new BE from your existing currently running one. And then you can update your system to the newer version of packages. And each time you are updating using image update, pkg image update command, or update all through the package manager or update manager, then you are creating new BE and installing software there. Also, it's very good if you want to try new drivers or your new software. So you can create new BE, install the drivers or software there, and come back to your perfectly working Open Solaris one. Okay, so how this looks from the package manager side. Let's start package manager. Here is manage boot environment field. And I have few boot environments. What I can do from this dialog, I can rename boot environment by simply double clicking here. I can remove this one and set this one as being the default, right? Upon reboot. So this means that when I will reboot, automatically the group entry will be highlighted and selected. And clicking OK will give us apply dialog. And then I don't want to mess with my BEs, but if you will click OK, then those things will be persistent on your system. So you could use, of course, CLI tools, and I believe that a lot of sysadmins are against GUIs, but this is very simple tool to manage your BEs. Also, we are thinking about splitting this BE to be separate applications, so you don't need to start the whole package manager, and you will just have the access to managing BE easily. Okay, let's come back to this one. Okay, so what is the future? The future is interesting. Of course, I put 3 dots here because there are a lot of other things, but we simply don't have time to cover all of this. What's the problem with the current way of searching for the packages? Normally, if you are very familiar with OpenSolaris and all the consolidations, you know where to find the packages. If you don't know, you need to either, let's say, Google it or search on PKG, Discuss, or other Discuss lists, find the proper publishers or repositories. So the auto-discovery is something that will allow to do this automatically. Basically, each publisher will have opportunity to contain related publishers. So if you are a publisher maintainer, you can say that, hey, there is another publisher with great software, and you are adding this to your related publisher lists. What is happening then? We are planning to allow Update Manager to consume this related publisher list and simply pop up very nice information to the user that, look, you are using those publishers, but there is another one which might be interested for you. So why not click on this link, which will link to the P5i file, and will simply add automatically this publisher. So this is other way of thinking. Like in any Linux distribution, you need to know where the packages are. And here, we will allow to send this information from the publisher rather than allow user to search for this information. P5i export-import. I told about this feature. So from the package manager or from the CLI tool, we would like to allow user to save their installed packages or their packages which they like. And that's why we would like to introduce exporting and importing those P5i files to the package manager. Yes? Yeah. I think I will finish a little bit earlier. So we will allow to export and import those P5i files, so then you can save your set of packages from one system to another, or even update the whole 100 computers with just P5i files. History and BE management separation. I mentioned about this. Basically, we want to split package manager from the BE management, but at the same time, we would like to allow user to review what happened with the packages. So there is pkg history command line, but I don't know if anyone was using this. It gives this huge amount of data, which then you can parse using different scripts and offset things. But we would like to make something more. Basically, we have time slider. We have BE management. So time slider is snapshotting the ZFS file systems from the user file systems. BE management is, on the other hand, splitting doing snapshots of their root file systems. So the history of the packages should allow us to come back with from different points of your installation in similar way than time slider. So basically you will have time slider to come back and forward for the user data, and history that will allow you simply to slide for your system snapshots. And also we would like to introduce allowing user to check if the user wants to make this snapshot or not. The way that update manager and update all functions are working now is that every time you are making an update, the snapshots and new BE will be created. But we want to get rid of this and also have some separation. So for example, if someone is installing one high-level package, then creating new BE is not always necessary. So we need to give a control over that. But this will require changes on the IPS side to say that this package really requires creation of new BE, which is not very straightforward. We can say that, okay, let's say that all the drivers needs creation of new BE and restart. But also there are some packages which also requires BE management. So all the package maintainers should say if this is required. And there are a lot of other ideas. And if you have any other idea, you know the alias pkg discuss, and you should simply send your idea or how you would like to improve the IPS or package manager. And you can get involved in this project or any IPS related project. Also, if you will say that package manager is working very slow or it's not reliable, please fill a bug on defect.opensolaris.org. This will really allow us to improve the product. You can also check your source code from the pkg HG repository. Before doing that, you need to install Mercurial package. Or simply search in some web browser for IPS OpenSolaris, and then you will find dozens of information about IPS. This is a very hot topic at the moment because everyone is interested how to install packages. Yeah, and the resources that I was using for this presentation is Manage Boot Environment with OpenSolaris. So this is article that I can say that I wrote with Marina Sum. IPS at OpenSolaris, PyGTK, because the GUI is written in PyGTK, and this was the obvious choice for us because IPS is written in Python, so simply we were very close to the IPS source code. Source user, the great way of having new packages, testing new packages, allowing the community to be part of OpenSolaris. So Brian gave great talk about this before. Dtrace at OpenSolaris. Dtrace for JavaScript. So this is the function that was modified to allow us to trace Python packages. LDTP wiki, and John Rice is also developer of Package Manager. So I took the P555 from this site.